Welcome our chair and USA. China, Professor Maya, Statistics Department of Environmental Science and Education. Co-chair Professor David Quality and Academic Standard, Cornell University, Nigeria. We start the session by 18:15. Be master.
Thank you, Secretariat. I believe I want to introduce myself. My name is Michael Koech from Kenyatta University, and the chair of this session. And my co-chair is Professor David Olukani from Nigeria. And this time is moving. I was suggesting that start with the presenter. Presenters are there. Move on. I believe the Secretariat can guide us in this.
Yes, sir.
Good
Can you
afternoon.
hear me? Can you hear me, Professor?
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. We will start the session by 18:15. 3 minutes.
Okay, so like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. That's great.
So we can start in about 5 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done, Professor Michael.
How are you, David Olukani?
I'm fine. And how are you too?
Thank you. I would like to suggest that you assist in summarizing after all the presentation at the end. Can you do that? Will you be able to do that?
Actually remotely. I'm actually on transit, and I'm
Yes.
just making sure that I connect. So in case the network goes out, maybe somehow. So please let me just be with you while the presentations are going on.
Okay.
Is that okay? I'm actually in another city, Abuja, precisely attending a conference. So I'm on transit.
Okay. So, well, anyway, we'll do the best with what we have. I have the secretariat.
Yeah. That will be fine.
Thank you so
very
much
much for your understanding. I appreciate it. So I'll be following with you, Alice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I request all presenter kindly confirm your attendance in the chat box so that we can identify who can present first. I request all the presenter kindly confirm your attendance in the chat box.
That is very good. Thank you. Let them do that.
Yeah, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Myself, Roktim Dasgupta, on behalf of ISWMAW and other partner organizations, welcome all to the special session 12, Waste Management and Circular Economy in African Countries. It's an honor having amongst us Professor Michael K. Koch as a chair from Kenya and Professor David O. Olukani from Nigeria as a co-chair. All participants in the special session are to remain in the default mute mode. Speakers may be unmuted only when requested. On request, the camera may be put on, else it will be off. All the presentations will be rated for IconSWM-CE Excellence Award 2021. I request respective responsible persons to kindly put the rating for each of the presentations on the rating sheet, which is already provided to you. I request to adhere to the duration of presentation time of 12 minutes to avoid delay. The question answer session will be at the end of all presentation. Questions and queries may be asked only in the chat box to specific speakers. The chairs kindly write the chair summary of the session, present at the session end, and send it to our email. I request all the presenters to kindly confirm their attendance in the chat box. Please make a note. I repeat, all the presenters kindly confirm your attendance in the chat box. I request the chairs to kindly start the session.
Thank you very much, Secretariat, for that outline and the direction of how we'll move on with this session. First of all, I would like to thank God for providing us with this opportunity and with this conference, the 11th conference this year. And thank God for giving us that opportunity, and thank God for enabling us to attend this conference and to be able to present what we developed and researched and share with us. So as far as this is concerned, we'll start with the presenters that are already indicated and listed themselves in the chat.
Yes,
and,
sir. That is signal number 4.
One of the presenters that is listed there that I can notice in the list is from Ethiopia, and that is Kenasa Mulisa Jida. And I think we would like to start to giving her that opportunity and to make the presentation within the 12 minutes. So please get started and move on. I can see Ait is perhaps representing or okay. So can that be done?
Okay, can I start, Mr. Chairman?
I can see that Mr. Kenesa is there,
Yeah,
and I'll appreciate.
Yeah, I can start. Yeah.
Thank you. Start.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Girmay from Ethiopia, and I'm a microbiologist and working in Walaga University in the western parts of Ethiopia. And I would like to thank also the organizing committee for considering our paper to be presented in this global forum. So my title is Production of Vermicompost from Fruit Peel Waste, and it is potential in promotion of some vegetables. Hopefully it is visible, I think. Is my
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
See, this is my content of presentation, my flow of presentation. As an introduction, after utilization of the edible parts of the fruit, the main challenge is where to collect the peels and store and dispose. And the other challenge is how to transport and process this fruit peel wastes because of its high moisture content. And because of its moisture content pose bad smelling, and which can result in headache and respiratory tract infection. However, it is possible to change this wastes into wells by composting process using earthworms, and this process is called vermicomposting. The worms hasten the conversion of wastes into valuable organic fertilizer, and this reduces the ramification effect of organic fertilizer on the environment. Vermicompost can improve crop growth and yield directly by supplying nutrients such as phosphorus, potassium, and magnesium, and indirectly also by modifying soil physical properties such as aggregate stability and porosity, and to also improve microbial activities in soil and biodiversity and the size of microbial population, which are important for decomposition in the soil. Western Ethiopia is a major fruit producing area, particularly papaya, avocado, and mango. And this, after consumption of the edible part, the fruit peel wastes from juice vending houses in Nakamte city is a major problem because of lack of temporary site for collection and disposal site. But it can be converted into compost at a household level, which can be used for garden vegetables and flowers. However, the impact on plant growth of this vermicompost made from fruit peel wastes are yet not tested. So, objective of this study was to produce vermicompost from fruit peel wastes by using earthworms, and to determine the mineral composition of this vermicompost made from fruit peel wastes, and finally to evaluate the plant growth promoting properties of this vermicompost on two vegetables, cabbage and lettuce. And the sampling site, the area where our work, our experiment exists is here. It is in Nakamte city. Nakamte city is found in the western parts of Ethiopia, and it is a site where Walaga University is existing. And we collected waste samples from juice vending houses separately for banana, avocado, and mango, and its moisture content is reduced to 40 to 60% by air drying, and the chopping were made to improve worm shearing process. And composting and the source of the worms, earthworms, which are red non-boring types of the species Sania fetidia of 10 to 50 centimeter long with lifespan of 28 months were collected from Baku Agricultural Research Center, Ethiopia. The worms were brought to laboratory using their feed substrates, following the protocol made by the center. And the composting and the source of the worms, about 10 kilograms of the substrate, that means the wastes were taken, and 0.5 kilogram of the medium and the 10 kilogram of the substrate were mixed, which mean about 50 hatchling of the worms are added to the substrate. The substrate contains different proportion of waste types and cow dung. This is our treatment in the greenhouse. This VCO means soil only, VC1 means avocado plus cow dung. VC2 is banana plus cow dung, and it continues. The single and the double and the triple combination of the vermicomposts were done. And the compost maturation and then nutrient analysis, aeration by repeated agitation, moisture was controlled by addition of water frequently up from 60 to 70%, and agitation were made for 80 days until the compost matures. Worm casting and the nutrient determination was taken place. That means pH of the compost was determined, organic carbon content, total nitrogen content, available phosphorus amount, and the cation exchange capacities of the compost was determined according to this method. And the next is pot experiment. Pot experiments were made in a greenhouse in a controlled environment. For this pot experiment, vermicompost, fine sand, and the soil were mixed. The soil was characterized for different nutrients, and the proportion of vermicompost, fine sand, and the garden soil was 70 to 20 to 10%, according to the picture indicated on the slide. And then planting takes place in a greenhouse. About 10 kilograms of the combination added into a pot. 10 seeds were planted in a pot, and that means cabbage and the lettuce separately. And the plants were treated until 60 days until harvest. It is harvested after 16 days, and the experiment was conducted in triplicate, and the controlled were soil alone and chemical fertilizer. Data collection and analysis, agronomic data such as plant height, whole plant fresh weight, whole plant dry weight, leaf length, and root lengths were determined. Compost nutrient analysis taken place, and the data were analyzed using ANOVA. And this is the result part. Compost nutrient analysis. As you can see, the pH of the soil is acidic. Western parts of Ethiopia soil is extremely acidic, as you can see, 5.4, but that of vermicompost is almost neutral, and the nitrogen content of the compost was excuse me once again, I'm minimizing, excuse me. Okay, the nitrogen content of the compost, the nitrogen content of the compost is the highest, as you can see, excuse me, the nitrogen content of the compost is the highest for VC6. That means a compost made from avocado plus mango, that is 1.71%. The phosphorus content is the highest for VC6 and V7. That means the triplicate, I mean the three combination, and avocado plus mango combination. And organic carbon content is the highest for the three combination, and the cation exchange capacity also the highest for VC7. Therefore, as you can see, the combination of vermicompost made from banana, avocado, and mango is the highest for phosphorus, nitrogen, organic carbon, and the cation. It is cation exchange capacity. And the effect of this compost on cabbage. If you see the plant height for this treatment is the highest is for a chemical fertilizer treated plant, followed by the three combination of vermicompost, and whole plant fresh weight is the highest for the chemical fertilizer, but it is not significantly different from the three combination of the vermicompost. Therefore, the combination of compost made from the three fruit peel wastes might have an impact or similar impact to the chemical fertilizer. High weight, the highest is 5.5, and the highest is that one, but which is significantly higher as compared to the vermicompost. But the leaf length is the highest is 16, which is not significantly higher as compared to cabbage treated with a vermicompost made from the combination of the three fruit peel wastes. The stem length is 6, the highest is 6 centimeter, but a vermicompost cabbage treated with a vermicompost made from the three fruit peel wastes is as comparable to that of a chemical fertilizer. The other is the effect of vermicompost grows on lettuce. The plant height of a lettuce treated with a vermicompost made from the three fruit peel wastes as comparable to that of chemical fertilizer, and also the whole plant fresh weight is also comparable that of lettuce treated with vermicompost made from the three combination is also comparable with that of chemical fertilizer, particularly the leaf length, which is the edible part in lettuce and the cabbage of a cabbage treated lettuce treated with a vermicompost made from fruit peel wastes of the three is almost all comparable that of a chemical fertilizer. The same is true for stem length. So in conclusion, vermicompost made from fruit peel wastes are neutral in pH, and vermicompost made from the combination of the three fruit peel wastes contain the highest total nitrogen, total available phosphorus, organic carbon, and the cation exchange capacity. Vermicompost made from the three fruit peel wastes have no determinant effect on the growth of cabbage and the lettuce. Vermicompost made from banana, avocado, mango peel, the fruit peel wastes have growth promotion potential on cabbage and the lettuce. Particularly, growth potential of the compost made from the combination of the three fruit peel wastes is 7, were comparable to the plant treated with chemical fertilizer. Therefore, our recommendation is compost made from fruit peel wastes using non-borrowing earthworm known as Acina fetida can be used as a replacement for chemical fertilizer in urban agriculture, particularly for production of garden vegetables. As the last, my acknowledgement is for the organizing committee of this global forum for giving us a chance to present our paper. Walaga University, who sponsored this research, and Institute of Biotechnology, Ethiopia, which assisted, linked us to this global forum. Thank you so much. I finish.
Thank you so much, Dr. Girmay Kenasa, for that very good presentation. We value and is well presented, and look like the suggestions are very good for the African countries and other people or other settings, and we'll surely appreciate applying some of the recommendation suggestions that you have given, and this may apply also to the policymakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dr. Girimaya Kenasa, have you another presentation on abstract number 299? That is evaluation of biogas production potential of coffee husk supplemented with poultry measure or cow dung.
I can call Dr. Mulisa. He is not present now on the slide.
Yeah, but Dr. Mulisa is not now here. So I request.
Okay. I will call him. I will call him.
Okay, okay.
Secretariat, I note that there seem to be no other presenter in the list. Can you let us know who might be there in the list or whom we have
Professor
indicated in the
goes for
chat?
someone and they can join immediately. So we
Okay,
have to wait some time. Okay, sir.
please do so, and then let's see who is the next presenter. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Dr. Mulisa is unable to present. He requested and apologize.
Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
maybe next year. Thank you.
Somebody are trying to join but unable to join due to some connectivity issue. So request chair and co-chair we should wait 5 to 10 minutes. If they not come, then I think we will close the session. Or
You mean the other presenters are not around? Hello, Prof.
hello,
Are you saying the other presenters are not around?
somebody trying to join, but they have some connectivity issue.
Oh, I see.
So we can wait 5 to 10, 5 minutes more.
Okay.
If they will not come, then we close the session with the permission of chair.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
We can give them about 5 minutes because of technical issues and other challenges.
Yeah, understandable.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. Professor Michael.
Yes,
Yeah,
David.
what's your area?
Eh?
Your area of discipline?
I'm in the area of environmental sciences and
Environmental health?
environmental sciences,
Okay, environmental sciences.
environmental management, and all of that.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
So we can establish
Okay,
a link and a network between Nigeria and Kenya.
exactly. So that's even my point. Maybe you will share with me your email so that we can also engage.
Yeah, that is very good. I'll do that perhaps after we finish this session.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm just trying to use the moment now since the candidates or the presenters are not here. So just keep the ball rolling.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Zafouri from Tunisia joined immediately.
Yes.
From
Secretariat
serial number 2.
number 2.
Zafouri from Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay then. Is that ready? Is the person ready?
Dr. Zafouri.
Zafouri.
Yeah.
Is he or she ready?
Dr. Zafouri, are you ready? Then please start your presentation.
Zafouri, can you start your presentation then? Okay.
Dr. Zafouri, can you hear me? Dr. Zafouri, I think you have some connectivity issue.
Is there another presenter?
Still now there. Miss Aida Ben Hussein Travelsi, I request, please told Dr. Zafouri to present. I think he has some connectivity issue.
With the Dr. Zafouri.
Yeah.
Okay,
Professor. Hello, Professor Gosh. I am sorry, I have a connection issue, but as I told you, to remove the presentation from this session. I don't know if you received my emails reminders.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I request Chair to call, please, serial number 1, Dr. Bhupe G. Mansar.
Secretariat, can you repeat that? What did you say?
I request Bhupe G. Manjar to please make the presentation.
Okay,
Please
okay.
mute and open the PPT and share the screen. Please start and finish in 12 minutes. Dr. Bhupe G. Manjar from Zambia.
Good afternoon. Can you share the presentation for me? I can't share from my end.
then you have to send your presentation in Secretariat email ID. I will write it in my chat box. Please follow the chat box. Raktim.dasgupta3@gmail.com is my mail ID. Please send your PPT in that mail, then I can share your PPT.
Okay, I'm sending it now. I've sent it. I've emailed the PPT. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm making a presentation. My name is Dr. Bupe Mwanza. I'm the chair for this organization, and I'm presenting a paper on municipal solid wastes in the city of Lusaka, and we are focusing on sustainable development goals. And I just want to make mention that this presentation is ongoing research, which we have not yet concluded, and my co-author is Kachikochi Banda. You can go to the next slide. So this is the presentation outline. I'll go straight to the introduction. So solid waste management, as we all know, is a challenge in most of the developing countries. It's a challenge in the urban and regional areas of most developing nation cities. So with the increasing population, which is brought about due to urbanization and infrastructure development, we find that the amount of waste that is being generated continues to increase. And this is putting a demand on the waste management personnel, as well as the local authorities, private companies, and NGOs that are charged with the responsibility of managing plastic solid waste. This is not only putting a demand on the waste managers, but it also demands continuous revision and improvements to the existing solid waste management systems and strategies. I'll move on to the next slide. So the presentation now on this slide is showing us, because this study is carried out to assess how the sustainable development goals, which are aligned with solid waste management, and in particular, we are focusing on municipal solid waste management. So this presentation outline, this slide is just depicting to show us that the amount of waste that is being generated in the city of Lusaka, which is one of the cities where the research is being conducted, continues to increase. As we can see, from 2012 to 2021, the amount of waste that is being disposed of at one of the largest landfills in Lusaka city, which is the capital city of Zambia, continues to increase, meaning that there is little that is being done in terms of sustainable waste management, as well as implementation of the circular economy, meaning that most of the waste that is being generated is just being disposed of and little is being recycled. Despite having these statistics on the amount of waste that is disposed of at Chungu landfill, we continue to see, according to the report that was done by What a Waste 2, a global snapshot of solid waste management in 2018, we look at the city of Lusaka, which is represented here, and it is showing us that only 45% of the waste that is generated in the city of Lusaka is collected for disposal, meaning that there's still a remaining of amount of 55% which is not collected. This waste is either illegally dumped up in open dump sites where it's not collected, and little is being recovered for recycling, little is being considered for combustion, and little is being considered for waste to energy processes. So this is showing us that there is a lot that needs to be done, and this is where we assess the sustainable development goals aligned to municipal solid waste management. What is happening in terms of implementation, and where are we in Zambia? So I'll move on to the next slide. So the motivation for this research is just to say that sustainable development goals have took an effect in January of 2016 when they replaced the Millennium Development Goals. So Zambia, as a member of the United Nations, and as is also mandated to implement the Sustainable Development Goal, which are also known as the Global Goals, by the year 2030. So this is the motivation in terms of looking at how is the solid waste management arena aligning itself to the Sustainable Development Goals, because these are goals which are very key to ensure that whatever we are doing now, we are taking into account the future generation in terms of how we utilize the resources. So the aim of the study is to assess the current municipal solid waste management from the Sustainable Development Goals aligned to solid waste management. This was the motivation behind this research. So we move on to the next slide, which is a summary to tell us that this study is a scientific study which is still ongoing, but we did look at municipal solid waste management, and that is the reason why the statistics in terms of the amount that is being disposed of and the amount that is being collected. We looked at where we are in terms of the city of Lusaka with regards to managing the solid waste. We looked at sustainable development goals, and we found that there are 17 sustainable development goals that have been formulated. And then we looked at the tool, looking at sustainable development goals as a strategy for municipal solid waste management implementation to achieve the circular economy, though the issue of the circular economy was not really covered in this research. So we move on to the next slide. So basically, in terms of the research methodology, there was a selection of search engine where we selected the search engines such as Google Scholar, Scopus. We looked at Science Direct, Web of Science, in terms of looking at where we can select the articles. So, and Elsevier. So after the selection of these search engine, we then selected the articles based on the keywords which are outlined in the abstract: municipal solid waste, sustainable development goal, sustainable development goals, or sustainability, and municipal solid waste management. Article selection based on the keywords was done, and then we selected the articles that were relevant and that were key in terms of identifying the gap and also trying to identify the methodologies that can be applied to this research. With this regard, a structured interview was formulated in which the research was done with the managers. Though it's still ongoing, we conducting interviews with the manager in charge of solid waste management, because there has been a lot of discussion in terms of achieving sustainable development goals from the local government perspective. So these managers are well vested, are well informed in terms of what is happening on the ground with the local government aligning themselves to achieving sustainable development goals in waste management. So we move to the next slide. So the results and discussion, these are the sustainable development goals which focus on no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, sustainable cities and communities, partnerships for goals, reduced inequalities, peace, justice, and strong institutions, industry motivation, life on land, zero hunger, decent job and economical growth, life below water, climate action, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, and then responsible consumption and production. These are the sustainable development goals that we looked at, and we looked at them in terms of what has been structured, what should be done in order to achieve them. And we looked at where we are in terms of solid waste management. Is any of these goals, have any of these sustainable development goals, have they been achieved when we look at municipal solid waste management? So we look at the next slide, which tries to show what has been done. So far, we identified about 9 or 8 sustainable development goals that are aligned, that have been achieved in terms of what the local government is doing to achieve the sustainable development goals. So when we look at end hunger, we find that 10,000 jobs, both directly and indirectly, have been created, because we find that in Africa, majority of the waste collectors are the informal sector. So you find that in the aspects of trying to achieve sustainability in waste management, the informal sector is contributing a lot to managing, and hence there's job creation. And this, once the job is created, we find that these informal sector are able to provide food for themselves, are able to have an income to sustain themselves. So waste management and the aspects of ending hunger in relation to job creation has been achieved, even in Zambia, where we find that the informal sector are actively involved in waste recovery activities. That is for ending poverty. In terms of ending hunger, for example, the city of Lusaka has more than 600 waste pickers at its designated final disposal. They've been given licenses to be able to operate and recover waste from the dump site. This is giving them an opportunity to earn an income. It's a livelihood, because they recover and they sell, and they are part of the supply chain when it comes to plastic waste, or they are part of the supply chain in the plastic manufacturing companies. They are part of the supply chain. So there's that aspect of ending hunger, because they're able to earn an income. Health for all, we find that the citizens are constantly informed on the dangers of unmanaged waste, and a number of communities which are based, the number of community-based waste management units have been established. So the city of Lusaka, through the Department of Public Health, is always informing the public on how to manage waste, and hence they are contributing to good health for all, because unmanaged waste is a source of infections, as we know. So that aspect has been achieved. When we look at clean water and sanitation, this is also been achieved, because we find that the government, donor funded organization, NGOs have partnered to conduct research on clean water and sanitation, and there are many projects that are ongoing in Zambia to help those that do not have access to clean water and sanitation. A lot of projects are being done in that regard. We don't have the statistics, yes, because this is an ongoing research, but we have studies that have been done in terms of also looking at how this same sludge, which comes from fisher waste, can be then converted to energy. So you find that there's an aspect when it comes to the aspect of sanitation and access to clean water. There's a lot of projects that have been done. We move to the next slide. Can we move to the next slide? No, sorry, you're moving too fast. Can you go back? Can you go back? Yeah, so access to energy is also one of the sustainable goals that has been achieved because of a number of projects that have been done, and Zambia has been mandated to at least ensure that there's any access to energy, and we have targeted for 16% growth and employment. This is also been achieved because we have got a number of recycling companies that have been small and medium enterprises that have come on board in terms of waste recovery, and we've got Zambia's partnering with foreign investors such as those coming from China. Partnerships, Zambia has a number of partnerships with programs that have been rolled out with regards to addressing the issues of waste management. Then we move to climate action, and considering a number of discussions that have been held widely, and particularly the one that was recently held, which Zambia was a part of, in terms of managing fumes and pollutants. There are a number of projects that have been lined up and which are ongoing and which have been achieved. We are just yet to conclude this study. So these are a number of 8 out of the 17 sustainable development goals that we were able to align in terms of what Zambia is doing. Can we move on to the next slide? So lastly, the study has shown the alignment of sustainable development goals to the achievement of sustainable solid waste management. There is still a lot that needs to be done to achieve the sustainable development goal that aligns to waste management. So the research is still ongoing, as some of the key interviews have not yet been conducted with the waste managers from different provinces in Zambia. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Mwanza, for that very elaborate and very important study on solid waste in Lusaka, and the challenges that you are facing in solid waste management, and the use of the Sustainable Development Goals that you have selected and analyzed and presented on what is being done. We really appreciate it. And thank you, and we say sorry for the technology that was a challenge at the beginning, but better late than never. So you have done a very good job in this session, and we appreciate it. So for now, I think I would like to go to the Secretariat to ask whether there is any other
request.
Presenters, any other presenters of the 7 or so that we have in the list.
Yeah. Now I request Kachikoti W. Banda to please make the presentation.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Chair. Can I be allowed to share my screen?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Chair, can you see my screen?
Yeah. Please make it full screen.
Thank you very much. My name is Kachkoti Banda. I'm from Lusaka, Zambia. I work as Assistant Director of Public Health for Lusaka City Council. I'm also a PhD student in environmental engineering, specializing in solid waste management. Chair, my presentation will start with an introduction, and Africa has got a varied historical background in terms of waste management, and we have seen an increased generation of municipal solid waste management due to increase in population, which has led to potential threat to environment, society, and economic losses. And we've also seen a rapid population growth, economic growth, and also changes in consumption patterns. And because of that, a large amount of waste piles up in trenches, ditches, riverbanks, everywhere. Sometimes it's burned in open air, and also leads to river flow or due to heavy rains. However, this is a global waste management has been a challenge, and we have scholars that observe that most stakeholders, municipalities, waste management companies, and also households, all of them acknowledge the need for better monitoring and regulation of municipal solid waste management, and with cooperation of stakeholders and sustainable targets and policies too. Chair, this was a desk review, and the technical reports, policy documents, newspapers, articles, books, and etc. were reviewed to establish current trends in municipal solid waste management. And the author conducted a search on most of the data engines, including Google Scholar, Engineering Village, and other online search engines for similar articles with similar themes on waste management and models that are being applied. Chair, the search was restricted to the last 5 years. However, valuable information was accessible, and as such, the study was left open to ensure wider coverage of literature. Further thematic analysis was applied to review literature and what has been published with regards to models applied in waste management. Chair, what has been discovered is that there's been lack of clearly stated models that countries, especially developing countries like Zambia, are adopting to manage municipal solid waste. Chair, a lack of elaborated governance mechanism that would ensure sustainable and integrated municipal solid waste management system that would lead to circular economy is the status quo. This is a summary of how the methodology was approached. And
Mr. Banda, excuse me, the slides are not moving.
Hello, Chair.
The slides are not moving. Can you do something to move the slides? I think share it.
I have moved. Maybe it's just moving slowly.
It is still on number one.
Still number one?
Yeah,
no.
I request you to please make it full screen.
It's full screen, and I'm on slides. It should be slide 5 now.
But yeah, but we are still on one in the cover page.
What can I do, Chair? Okay, let me stop and start maybe.
Can the Secretariat assist?
Yeah.
Please.
Please send your PPT in our mail.
How is this? Can you see this?
How is it?
Can you see slide 5?
No.
Hello?
No. Please send your PPT in our mail. We can share your PPT and you will present now.
Where should I send it? On the chat? I sent it to the mail. Oh, come on. Hello, Chair.
Yeah.
The Secretariat is handling, Mr. Banda, handling that issue. Thank you.
Okay, can I stop sharing?
I think let the Secretariat guide you.
Right.
You can follow the chat box. There one mail ID is there, roktipdasgupta3@gmail.com. Please send your PPT in that mail. We can share from Secretariat your PPT and you will present. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I've seen the email. Let me send the PowerPoint in a second. Right. Okay. Chair, I've sent. Secretariat, I have sent a presentation.
Yes. Now start, please. Is my screen visible?
It is visible now. We can see the introduction. I think you can move on.
Chair, we can go to slide number 5 where I stopped from before the break in communication.
Yeah,
Right.
it is literature.
Right. So from literature, we identified 3 types of models. We have the white models, gray models, and green models. And the white models have what we call a definite data set, which can be used to create a model. And then we have the gray models, which are built on a range of a data set. And finally, we have the green models that are built on the concept of sustainability. The focus of the study was on the green models, and as such, the green models comprise the cost-benefit analysis model, life cycle assessment model, or life cycle analysis model, and finally, the multi-criteria analysis models. And for waste management model to be sustainable, it must consider the environmental, economic, and social aspects, and also to the extent also political aspects that are prevailing in that particular locality, municipality, or indeed the country. And the banning of waste in developing countries is a frequent occurrence because of lack of waste management services. So these services are being offered haphazardly without really considering what sort of models these developing countries like Zambia should apply to achieve a more sustainable waste management system. Therefore, we've seen countries grappling to find sustainable solutions to the increasing challenges caused by increased generation of municipal solid waste. Several models have been applied in the waste management value chain. And therefore, waste management models play a critical role in governance mechanisms for managing municipal solid waste in a more sustainable manner. Next slide, Chair. So the purpose of the study was to examine existing models that are being applied in waste management for sustainable and integrated municipal solid waste management. Chair, we have seen waste management services evolving from labor-intensive activities most focused on garbage collection and urban cleaning to more industrialized, complex, capital-intensive services. For an integrated and sustainable waste management system, there's need to devise a better management options through reuse of waste. And such innovations depend on the type of model that applied. We have a scholar that agrees that municipal solid waste management models present situational and future trends in waste management. Therefore, waste management systems depend on the type of waste management models applied in the management of municipal solid waste. Next slide, Chair. Chair, next slide. Yeah, so Chair, the first model that is, like I said in brief, is the cost-benefit analysis model, which enables decision makers to assess positive and negative effects of a set of scenarios by translating all impacts into a common measurement, usually monetary. So we are looking at a situation where several scenarios are assessed and they are converted into monetary value, and the one which the least is the option that is adopted. Therefore, cost benefit model is an economic way of choosing among alternatives, for that is policies, programs, activities that needs to be implemented in waste management. Next slide, Chair. Chair, the next model is life cycle assessment model or life cycle analysis model. And this is a tool for environmental assessment and has been used to evaluate environmental impact of municipal solid waste options in strategic planning and decision-making processes. And this tool, Chair, addresses environmental impacts and potential impacts, for example, the use of resources and the environmental consequences and raises throughout a product life cycle of a product. So let's say recycling or final disposal, which we call a cradle to grave. So Chair, life cycle assessment is accomplished in the following ways. So the first step is the goal. What is the goal of this assessment? Or what is the goal of this model? The scope definition. And then we have the phase, the scope definition phase, where the scope has to be defined, and also have the inventory analysis phase. Then we have the impact assessment phase, and lastly, the interpretation stage phase. Share the last model that is under the green model category is the multi-criteria decision analysis model, which consider individual and often conflicting criteria account in multi-dimensional way, leading to a more robust decision making rather than optimizing a single dimension objective function. So, Chair, scholars clarify that MCDA models are used to evaluate environmental problems by developing a complete set of alternatives on basis of several criteria depending on the objective of the model. So, Chair, this model looks at several options using several criteria, and a final, the best model is applied. Therefore, in many countries, in many African countries, Zambia inclusive policy frameworks for waste management and coherent with fragmented legislation. This has led to a poor solid waste management, which threatens public health and the environment. So the state of affairs highlights the major challenges in governance of municipal solid waste. Therefore, the choice of model to be applied in governing municipal solid waste is largely dependent on the policy and legislative instrument the national and local governments put in place. Next slide, Chair. Chair, this is a graphical interpretation of the model. So we have waste management models. Pardon me, on top they're supposed to read green models. White models, then green models in the middle, gray models. So the scope of the study is the middle model, which is the green models. And on top there, we have the life cycle assessment models, cost-benefit analysis models, then multi-criteria decision analysis model. So when all these models are applied, depending on the scenario, because there's no model that needs to be applied in individuality, we can achieve what we call sustainable and the integrated municipal solid waste management in African countries and Zambia in particular. So lessons learned from the study is that there's no single model that can be implemented to achieve sustainable and integrated municipal solid waste. To address the complex challenges we are facing as African countries or developing countries, the management of municipal solid waste, there's need to apply all the three models. Therefore, this is because there's no single model that would address the challenges in totality. Chair. So the major gap identified from literature is that there's no clear application of the models in municipal solid waste management in African countries. This has resulted in the haphazard management of municipal solid waste that threatens both public health and environment. And we have, waste being burnt, buried, and also indiscriminately disposed waste because of lack of a well coherent municipal solid waste system. Next slide, Chair. Next slide. Right. So those are just some of the references that the author relied upon to piece up the information to identify existing models that are being applied. Thank you for the opportunity, Chair, to present my study.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda, for that good and systematically presented the issues of the models applied in municipal solid waste in Lusaka and the management of the solid waste, and the systematic presentation that you have done. We value this presentation. This presentation will be useful to many of us in the developing world in selecting the models that work and apply them, and we can learn lessons from various parts of the world, including Zambia. So we appreciate your presentation in this, and all the questions regarding all the presentation can be asked, or you can put them in the chat and then be asked toward the end. Now, I would like to go to the Secretariat and ask whether there is another presenter that is ready to do the presentation, or what do we do next? So the Secretariat, please guide us at this point. Thank you.
Yes. If any presenters are yet to present, then please write your name in the chat box. Please write your name in the chat box. I think other presenters are not there. Or please respond. Unmute yourself and respond if any presenters are there. Otherwise, I request Chair to move for question and answer session.
Thank you, Secretariat, because I think the last person that had put his name in the chat was Kachikoti Banda, who had just finished the presentation. So I think in this regard now we go to the questions and answers of various issues, and I believe that questions were put also in the chat, and we can start by the questions that were put in the chat. And I think Fatma had some two questions to the gentleman from Ethiopia who made his presentation earlier, and that was Mr. Girmay Kenasa. And I think those questions are there already. He's taken note of them. I've seen it in the chat. And can we start with you, Dr. Girmay Kenasa, and answer those questions that you have already received and noted? So go ahead. It looks like Girmay Kenasa is not there, Secretariat.
Yes, yes.
So there was he had answered a question on the chat to Fatma.
Yeah.
But there was only one question that I think he didn't answer it, and that was how was the climatic condition during the experiment. So That is the only thing that I noted, that it was not answered in the chat. But if that is okay and is not here, and so we can move on to any other questions for any other presenters that followed. And the presenter that followed Mr. Kenasa was Dr. Bupe Mwanza from Zambia. Are there any questions for Dr. Bupe Mwanza from Zambia's presentation? Any questions for her?
In chat box, there are no questions.
It looks like there's no question. So we can move on now to the third presenter. And the third presenter is a PhD candidate in Zambia also, Kachikoti Banda, who made a very good presentation, just concluded now. And would like to see, or if anyone of us in this session has any questions or comments on his presentation. I've not seen anything on the chat yet, but is there anybody with some questions for Mr. Kachikoti Banda? If you have, please go ahead or put it in the chat. Any? The Secretariat, any?
No, sir. There are no questions.
Okay, if that is the case, then if there are no questions, what we can do is, what is next? Is it summarizing?
I request the chairs to present the chair summary and conclude the session.
To conclude the session.
Yeah.
So in that case, Secretariat, what I'm going to do is thank all the presenters that made their presentation today. And the first presenter from Ethiopia, Girmay Kenasa, covered very good study, very good experimental study that is very important as far as composting is concerned. It was very scientific and very appropriate and can be applied in very many settings. And I would like to say that recommendations as far as that is concerned is the use of worms in organic production. And that is something that I got out of it, but the presentation was very good, very relevant, appropriate, and valuable to issues regarding composting and others. So I want to say that that was very, very well done, and we appreciate that presentation. Secondly, the second presenter was, who followed him was Dr. Bupe Mwanza from Zambia, and also did the municipal solid waste issues in Rwanda, in Lusaka, and also did a study, reviewed the literature, and had very many areas, and particularly applied the methodology of looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them, and selected the relevant ones that apply to their study that is ongoing. And I want to say that the issues discussed, particularly concentrating on the Sustainable Development Goals and how and what has been done in Zambia, was very appropriate, and the study is ongoing. So we'll appreciate that perhaps you will share with us the conclusion and the recommendation of the study when they all get done, and we will appreciate it, and we thank you for that presentation, and we value it. So last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, is the presentation that was done by Mr. Kachikoti Banda, a PhD candidate, on the models and the models applied in municipal solid waste, in solid waste management, also in Lusaka, And the work is well done. The presentation was good. The review of the literature and the desk review was very, very good. And looking at the criteria for decision-making processes, including the discussion, the results, and the models, and the gaps that are existing, and then the conclusion and recommendation that were provided are also relevant in this state of issue, in the studies of solid waste management, and we value his recommendation and we wish him well to succeed and pass his exams for his PhD study in this area, and later on share with us the results, the final results and conclusions that can be shared by the researchers and the policymakers so that we can be able to apply them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody who has participated, the presenters, those who have asked questions, and those who have contributed in many ways, and the Secretariat coordination. We value your work here. And I just want to say that the work is well done. The three presenters that made their work, I think, did very well. I think others who are not able to present, I do not know what challenges they had. They may have had other technical challenges, but small is beautiful. A few also are great. The few that are presented here, we value them and we wish them well, and we thank you all. So
Thank you,
those
sir.
are summaries in this, and then I think that want to thank everybody.
Before we leave the session, I request all the delegates to open your camera for photograph. I request all the delegates, please open your camera for photograph. Mr. Kachikoti Banda, please open your camera.
Chair, I've opened my camera, but it's not coming on. I don't know what I need to do. This is depressing.
I think what you can do is unstop the video. If you have it where it is where the video is, click it. If it is somewhat muted, so
Okay.
no, let the Secretariat assist.
Secretariat, can you open my camera?
Challenges in technology.
Oh, come on. Oh, this is depressing. This is so depressing.
Dr. Bhupe, please open your camera.
Let me use my phone, Secretariat. Can you give me a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just connect from my phone. I can't miss this. Come on. Almost there, almost there. Almost. Sorry to hold everyone around.
That's okay. Keep trying.
Yeah, almost there. I'm going to the link now. Okay.
Others are requested to open your camera, please.
Okay, I'm almost there, Chair. I'm almost there. I must get my camera on. Right. Right. Come on.
Yeah. Who Kachikoti Banda is coming.
Right. Okay. What is this now? Start my video. Okay. Right. Oh, the camera is bad.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Right.
We now close the session. We request all the participants to please join the next day in Hall 2, timing 10 a.m. IST. This is the technical session 19 on Industrial Waste. Please join the next day in Hall 2 at 10 a.m. IST. So, thank you to the chair. We now close the session.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. May everybody go well, participate well, and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Bye-bye.
Thank you.